Have you ever been gaming or working online classes and your internet service constantly gets interrupted? First Nations Fiber is about to ensure that just won't happen again. Get ready for high speed at a new level. Click on fnfiber.com and sign up today. First Nations Fiber, empowering people through connectivity.
Hello, everybody, beaters, artists, those who just want to listen and get the scoop. Welcome to the Beading Podcast with your hosts, myself, Leith and my fabulous friend out in Ganondagan, Miss Margaret. Stand up, Gwegwe, Margaret. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good. Little craziness over here, but we're all good.
Yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're up and at 'em, and everyone still has their jobs. Fingers crossed. A little tense, but whatever, it's a Tuesday. Let's get it at Tense Tuesday.
Yeah, Tense Tuesday.
Yeah. So how's the weather? I mean, it's a kind of a mundane topic, but how's the weather over there? Over here, it's rainy, and I was walking to my studio, and I was just like, brr, it's cold and wet. And
Oh, really?
how's it there?
No, it's super nice here. It's sunny. It's a little chilly, but it's all nice and bright and clear over here.
Oh, really? That's how it was here yesterday. So
Oh, maybe we're going to get the rain.
yeah, but yeah, so I was just a little bit of gab, like kind of just like what I've been doing kind of thing. And yesterday I went to get an indie head massage.
Oh my God, did you?
Yeah, and a really nice lady, and it was well, like beaters, we come stuff from like neck pain and different things like that from always being hunched over or whatnot. So I had booked that maybe almost like a month ago, and I was feeling stressed because I was here. And, like mom guilt kind of thing. So I was just like holding it all in. And I've noticed two things. My guilt has subsided. When I go home, it like
Reactivate.
not reactivates. I'm rest assured that things are going well. Not that I ever thought that things weren't going to go well, but just like, I just feel guilty that I'm not there. And although it is stressful for those who are home right now, I feel comfortable knowing that, like, with check-ins and whatnot, that hopefully it's not as stressful as it was, because I was here for a month prior to going home. So I had booked this head massage and thought that would be help to alleviate the stress. But in the meantime, my stress level had decreased. And with that distress level decreasing, I realized, did you ever hear of the angry 11? Women have it, or some people have it on their forehead, like between the eyebrows.
Oh, yeah.
That furrow, I think they call it a furrow.
Yeah, I never heard the Angry 11.
Yeah, well, in the Beading Biddies group, one of my friends, she was talking about the Angry 11, and I realized, like, well, I had the Angry 11, like, really bad, and I won't say it's disappeared, but because
I'm trying to rub mine through right now.
It's not disappeared, but it has kind of like, it's not as intense as it was, and I think it's because I think I was always squinting my eyeballs, like, what the hell's going on kind of thing, like with kids and just stress and that kind of stuff. And I never noticed like how prominent it was until I realized it was like not as prominent. And so I've been kind of looking a little bit younger, may I say.
Like Botox.
For now. No, I mean, I don't think I would ever do that, but yeah, but I mean, I'm also like taking care of myself in the sense that I'm not in a rush. And so I'm doing more of as they would say, a morning routine or a facial kind of thing, and taking care of myself and brushing my teeth longer than I ever have. I realized too, which just seems like so kind of crazy. But if you're in a rush trying to get kids to bed or do things, or you feel like you're always on the move, you don't really have time to really take care of your teeth. I mean, and it sounds like a really strange topic to talk about, especially like at the beginning of this November. But I think it's like self-care kind of thing. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if you're maybe the producer of a podcast, or you're a journalist at wase, or you're running a store that's under construction, or you're an artist or a teacher, or any of those things. It's taking time to do some of those little self-care things, and maybe spending an extra 2 minutes on your teeth could be very beneficial, because as somebody once told me, that's the only ones we got. Like, So yeah, so I did something like good for myself yesterday, and I've been doing like small little good things for myself every day by just like trying to take care of myself. Mind you, not taking care of myself fit wise, but it's just something I wanted to talk about. Like, are there any things that you have seen in the past little while that you've been doing for self-care?
I see a therapist.
Well, that is excellent.
Yeah, I was like, please help me. No. Yeah, just recently I just to unload and just to talk with somebody. So I have always I'm not against at all. I'm a pretty open book, but it's
Yeah.
it's better sometimes to just talk to somebody who could give you constructive criticism or just to listen, whatever. So
Hmm.
my self-care lately has been doing that, just to go and see somebody once a week, just to talk and whatever, talk about everything. That's my self-care.
That's
And
really good. I'm all
yeah,
for therapy. I'm all for
yeah, me
therapy.
too. It's like I've been doing it for a very long time, off and on as needed, and it's been needed the little past little while, but thankfully everything's, you know, not as stressful as things have been in my life. So things are
Hmm.
starting to calm down, which is great. But yeah, it's always nice to have somebody just to sit and talk to. Self-care, I like to go for walks. I bring the dog
Hmm.
for walks. I do that. I like to get outside and do stuff. Beading is my self-care,
Hmm.
to shut down and relax. And yeah, I massages. I'm all for massages and spas and
Hmm.
all that. So that's my self-care within the last little while. Actually the last month. So maybe I'll go right into that.
Yes, because that is kind of self-care too, a little bit.
Yeah, so
Business self-care.
yeah, so business self-care. So the last podcast we were talking about how, I was pretty stressed out and felt like things were crumbling around me for a little while.
Hmm.
And yeah, so right after we finished taping, that
I think it was
week,
literally the next day.
yeah, I believe so. I had gone to the shop, and like the guy who oversees like the whole like management type of thing, he
Mhm.
came to me and said that like my unit was in need of upgrades. Like
It was like the original the one of the only original units, right, that hadn't
yeah,
been upgraded.
yeah. So like the whole store had been rebought maybe over a year ago now,
Hmm.
by new owners, and so they were just doing some updates to the unit, and my unit never had an emergency door. So you know, so we kind of
Hmm.
needed a back door
Second
in
out
case. Yeah.
exit, yeah, in case
Yeah,
of
we
a
only
fire.
had one entrance. So yeah, so anyways, he came up to me and just said, we're looking to he's like, we had a meeting with the owners, and he's like, your unit is the last unit to that needs stuff done. And I don't think they really wanted to disrupt the business. That's why they were kind of waiting.
Oh, okay.
Because it like to do anything, I'd have to shut down and
Yeah.
whatever. And so they didn't want to put that on me, especially so close to Christmas and all that.
Yeah.
But it all came together perfect timing because I was just really, really stressed out at that point.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what, honestly, I said, shut me down. I said, I
You
need
need
the
it.
break. I need to close because I was dealing with a lot of other things at the time, and I was struggling to get myself even to the store to work because I had to take care of other things. And it's a lot to pay for a worker every single day, which is
Hmm.
then that's even more stress because then it's financial stress. So, anyways, I told him, I said, you know what? I really need to take a step back right now. Anyways, I said, this gives me kind of, I guess, an excuse a bit.
Yeah, way out. Yeah.
Yeah. So what they said, okay. So within, I think within that week, I think we taped on a Monday and or whatever. But then it was decided. I think we talked about it that week. And then Friday, I spoke with him because I had to figure things out. They had to talk back with the owners just to make sure. And then we came to a consensus to say all of November, we would shut down.
Hmm.
So he went back to the head people, and yeah, so by Monday morning I stopped. I was like in my pajamas. I stopped. They were all outside at the store. I was just dropping the kids off. And I stopped, and he was like, okay, it's all good to go if you're ready. So I said, oh my God, okay. That was like in the last 2 weeks in September. Because then I was like, okay, if we're going to do this for November, then I have to shut down now because I have to clean the store. I have to
Yeah.
get everything out of there. I have to contact all of the artists and have them take all their items back because I have nowhere to store anything. Luckily,
And wait,
oh,
can I just interrupt for
yep,
one
yep,
second?
yep.
And just to let those new listeners know, because I think we have new listeners sometimes, is that Margaret has a store in Ganondagan that is kind of like artists bring their works in consignment. She sells some
Mhm.
things. I sell my beads there. But so all the things that she's talking about she has to remove from the store are those items that she is helping other artists sell. So that's why you had to call them all.
Yeah. So we had to, everyone had to come back and pick up all their items. And then it was just cleaning. It was cleaning the basement. I did have storage at the time. So I had to go through everything in there, and you know how storage rooms go sometimes, where it's like it goes into storage to die. So I was like, oh my God, there was all kinds of crap down there that had to just be thrown out. And there was stuff in there from like the previous tenants that I don't know why I was still in there. Like I didn't throw it out, years ago. But anyways, so now it was crunch time. Everything had to get taken out. So
and then there was my studio.
Yeah. And then your stuff, like, so, which was a little bit harder because I was like, I was just trying to pack it and like
getting my kids and my niece there to
they came, they packed everything up. And so we were just trying to get everything, like the stuff that maybe shouldn't have been in storage. Like I was trying to like make sure that, they packed those into boxes, and your husband took that. So it's like your ribbons were in there. I'm like, like I have no idea where storage is, what kind of conditions they're in, like, So luckily the owners had a storage unit for my bigger items, like the furniture. I have like a massive table that weighs about 500 pounds from IKEA. Mm-hmm. So the guys, they're so bored. They were amazing though. All the workers, all of everybody are there. They've been working really, really hard and really fast to get that unit ready. So our projected date is the first week, like maybe the first few days in December, is to get me back in. They're going to move all the stuff back in, and then I have to just reorganize. So I'm hoping to get the store open like the end of the first week.
That would be like what, December?
Like 6th or 7th, I believe.
Okay.
It would be around then. But we have to see, like so far, knock on wood, everything has gone pretty smooth. Everything's been like straightforward. I've been passing and stalking them and popping in and checking things out. So they're moving really quick. I have to go pick paint colors now, and they're
so exciting.
It is, because they included me on the design plan. They basically said, like within reason, that they will accommodate as much as they can for my needs and what I want the store to look like. So for the most part, there's one of the units next door, they had just renovated, and it's beautiful the way they did it. They opened it up, they raised the ceilings, they poured I think, anyways, there's new flooring in there, but I think she did that on her own. But they gave me all those options too. So the ceiling is higher. It's all new gyprock. They're pouring an epoxy floor. Awesome. And the layout, your office is gone. Well, not really. But where
our studio has changed.
Yeah. So where Leith was, for those who have ever been in the store or know where her office was, it was upstairs, and that got changed out. So it's now going to be like kind of like a common space for, like, anyone who has ever come to Traditions knows that, when you come in, there's usually people sitting around, hanging out, talking, chit-chatting, kind of like a beading table. So it's nice to have that space. So that's going to be the upstairs. There's going to be like a kitchenette type of thing, and just like a nice, welcoming, cozy space up there. And now the store is actually going to be a tad bit smaller. So I separated the space into two, and half of it is going to be workspace for my classes, because it was a pain to be juggling things around all the time and setting up, resetting up, putting things away, and worrying about like paint nights, like with kids and adults sometimes. Like sometimes we have to splash things, and and I'm like, oh my God.
It wasn't efficient for what you wanted.
No, not at all. Because I was always worrying, like, are we gonna like destroy somebody's artwork, things like that. So now it's completely two separate spaces. So once you walk in, it's gonna be storefront, and then there's gonna be a partition wall, just like a pony wall, like a half little wall, and then it will be the what's it called on the other side, the workspace, so I can put up tables, leave them there, set up, and that will be ready for class, things like that. So
and nobody has to see that, really, right?
Yes, exactly. It's behind. You could probably peek in and take a look, but it's not going to be like front and center like always. So so I'm super excited for that. I have to go check in again. I've been trying to check in once a week just to see what they need from me. Yeah, it's been like kind of like lights and things like that. Like I've had to go in. Some of those things are financially on me, which is totally understandable. So like I wanted new pendant lights and different things like that. So I had to go shopping last week and hunt things down. And
Are they putting different lights in the basement? You know?
yes, so that's going to be all.
Okay, I was just like,
yeah, no, it's gonna be. So yeah, so Leith's new office is in the basement. So she's all.
that's why I'm asking. Like, should I ask?
The space is maybe slightly smaller than where you
That's
were.
okay.
But not much, and it's all going to be fresh and new. And
It's going to be like white. Can you just make it white?
Yep. We're leaving it white for now. I said like I'll let you, if you want to paint it, you can choose a color later on, but it'll be all white.
White is better than that yellowy beige color that was upstairs. So.
Yeah, and the basement was that exact same color. I think it was like bright, weird yellow. But anyways,
white is good.
Yeah, they're putting all new lighting. I think you have new pot lights down there that are all bright and shiny. So. Yeah. So I can't wait. I'm getting excited. You know, it's been really amazing taking a whole month off just to kind of decompress from life and everything. Just that I was a bit more busy because now I'm like, well, I'm not working. Let me schedule this. And I scheduled this. And then I had every week, it seemed like I was like constantly busy. But yeah, not working financially is not fun either. So I was like, oh shit, like I got to get back to work. Like we got to get back in the store and classes going and things like that. So. But yeah, so that's the exciting news, I guess, from when we first left off from last month. I was just, yep.
We're going to go right into another thing that is exciting for you and is exciting for me.
Yes.
And for a lot of people from Ganondagan, I think there's a lot of artists who got into the Ganondagan Haudenosaunee art market.
Woo! Yes, we did. So we're going
we both
into
applied. And we both got in along with a slew of other, I'm sure, talented. I can't wait to see. Like, I've never been to Ganondagan myself, and my husband always wanted to go, and we've never really had that chance. So I'm going to take some of my kids and my husband, and we're going to go and I can't wait to see all the stuff. Because some people a lot of people bring their A game. I mean, a lot of people bring their A game to shows anyway, because that's like one of the things. But I can't wait to see all the stuff.
Me too. I'm so excited. So I've been saying I was going to apply for the last maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
And just never, every time it comes around, it's like I'm too busy. Like I hadn't had anything prepared and blah, blah, blah. So this year I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So so I have a piece and I was so afraid to submit it. I don't know, just like everyone else here, like me, it's all scary, you know. But yeah, so I was accepted. I know Dagwahawi Daibo, Candace, like there's a bunch of us going.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. I didn't know about Candace.
Yeah, Candace applied. She's in. So Dagwa and I are traveling together. We're going to take our girls and make it like a little girls weekend kind of thing. So yeah, so we're pulling out next Friday. We're going to head down and just make a nice weekend out of it. So
that sounds so good.
Yeah. So it's a little stressful right now, though. It's like trying to get like, thankfully.
Did you finish your piece?
Yeah.
It's done?
Yeah.
Did you submit it yet?
No. I have to do the drop off thing now.
Oh, when's yours at?
That was the stressful part because it's like there's only certain days that you can, if you're going to mail it in, it can only be accepted certain days, like because the place is not open.
What?
Yeah. So it's like if you send it in, I think it's only between Tuesday and Saturday that they accept the packages. So if it gets there, on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, nobody's there to accept it. So then it has to be.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So check your emails.
Oh, crap.
I was stressed about that. So
I
didn't.
I'm stressed. Now I gotta. I'm just sweating.
Yeah. Don't quote me on the dates, but check your emails. There was something about certain days.
No, I saw. Maybe I'll just send my new PS, I think, though. So I'll be okay.
Yeah. So I was like, I can't mail it. I don't know whatever, you know. So we have a drop off date and time. It's in Aguizasne, I believe, next week at a certain time. And what was stressing me out, though, is that we are going to the Sing this weekend.
Oh,
so
that's right.
We're not going to be around. So I'm like, I can't be in Aguizasne at the time that it's specified. So I'm like, oh my God. So I had to contact other artists and see who is bringing their stuff and if somebody could just bring mine with them and whatever. So that's all arranged. So yeah, I just have to have it all packed and ready to go. Yeah, that's that.
Oh man, now I'm like checking my email because now I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, there were certain dates.
Shit, I just thought I didn't even, I saw that, but I didn't see that it was only be accepted a certain day.
It's just because nobody's there to but and it has to be there before the 28th. So I'm like, oh my God.
No, which is a Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
has to be on there on the 28th, I think it is.
Yeah, anytime before, but it's like if
Oh
you
wait,
send
what's
it
the
now,
date today? Yeah, it's like
the
next week.
21st. Yeah.
Oh my God. Tomorrow my well, here at my residency, I had casually mentioned to the chair of the department that I wanted to somehow like document my time here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was offered the opportunity to work with a grad student. Actually, she's a doctoral student. She's a Mexican doctoral. She's from Mexico, and her specialty is like photography, but she also, like I found out last week, does design and just all kinds of stuff. So I've been fortunate that the department is able to hire her to take pictures of me while I'm doing my work, take pictures of my cradle board group, and just like really just help me in any way. And so I have her tomorrow coming, and we're going to take photos of my piece.
Oh, cool.
Like, maybe I should just send it to UPS now, like after the podcast, because I'm thinking, oh my God, but yeah. I'll work out. That's not stress for our listeners. That's just really my stress. And there's my, I'm sure, angry 11 furrowing down. But it says it has to be here, but it has to be there by the 4:30.
Yeah.
4:30.
The deadline. Okay. Yeah, so that's all set up and ready to go. So yeah. So I'll probably be packaging it up soon this week and then dropping it off with the artist who's going to be taking it. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm super excited to go. I'm excited to see everybody's stuff and just the museum itself and check everything out. And yeah, and good luck to everyone. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it's so exciting. It's a different. I'm not sure if I mentioned it here on the podcast. I don't think I did, because I didn't mention to anybody that I was actually applying. Because 2 weeks before the deadline is when I decided that I was going to do it. So I started my project 2 weeks before. But it's an interesting market because, one, it's just Haudenosaunee people. For anybody who doesn't know that, most markets are open to anybody. So it's good that it's going to be just like it's a small group and a very select group. And I think they had over 100 people apply, and they accepted 50 artists, or they accepted 50 pieces. So that's
there
really
was 57. I just got an email saying like,
oh yeah,
yeah, I think there's 57 on display.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And so, like, with that being said, like, you had to like submit pictures of the actual things that you're going to be submitting.
Yeah.
which is different. So, which is different from other markets where I've had to like just submit like almost like a portfolio, and you kind of just go from there. So yeah, so it should be fun to see like what everybody's bringing and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so, and when I first went to my first show at the Herd in Phoenix, I didn't realize, because I wasn't in the art world, like that wasn't really my thing, is I didn't realize just how many different forms of art there were. So like to be able to go and see all these people who are doing all these innovative things, and like aside like from the actual like 2D or 3D, like all of the like the digital kind of artwork too that people do is really interesting. So yeah, so I didn't know that when I first went to my first market. I was very naive and didn't really know the scene, and not that I know the scene as much as somebody who's been in there for a long time, but I know a little bit more now than I did before, and it's a nice place to be. And and I find there's like camaraderie and different things amongst the artists in various mediums and stuff like that. So it's really nice. So yeah, it should be fun.
Little art community. Yeah. So we shall discuss that, I guess, next time we come back, and everyone's experiences and how it would be nice to have like people on, like who go, we can invite some people on next time.
Yeah.
And we can all discuss.
I wonder if we could even tape somebody when we're there. No, I don't know how that works. I'm trying to I'm not into that production kind of thing.
Come on now, we already had stressful morning. I'm laughing.
Yeah,
I'm looking at her sort of Howie.
Okay. We had mentioned something. We had actually, when I went back to Ganondagan, I went back 2 weeks ago, I guess now, or maybe a week and a half ago, I guess. We had talked. We had actually gone to breakfast, Margaret and I, just to touch base and to see each other. And we were talking about our podcast and just how interesting it was to meet different people. And I think we were actually talking about like how we talk about our podcast, or we don't talk about a podcast.
You forget that you have a podcast.
No. You have a podcast, and I never it's not, well, it's not really on the forefront of my mind. For anybody who visits our Instagram page, you'll know it's very sparse and we're not really like on it like that much, but it's something that is like not at the forefront of my mind. So I don't often think about it. I more think about it when I know like, okay, I think we have to start filming, or not filming, but start recording or whatnot. But I never realized just how impactful it is to some people and how, I mean, everyone says, yeah, everyone and their mother has a podcast, but that's not really so, you know, and I never realized just how far we've come, Margaret, really, like, not to toot our own horns or nothing, but that we are now heading into our second year. In January. It'll be 2 years of being on the podcast, and we only record monthly. But like some people, like we got some inboxes this past week about a person who really enjoyed listening to our podcast. Like,
really, I didn't even see it.
Yeah, she really wrote a really nice thing on. She inboxed us and just wrote how nice it was to listen, and just talking about how inspiring. I mean, I hate to talk about ourselves in this way because it just makes me feel uncomfortable. But that's what she wrote, like how inspiring it is, and like listening. And then she sent a picture of her beadwork, which was really, really nice. And
oh, shit. I better go and look.
And that's not the first time I've heard that, you know, like we've had like in the beginning when we first started, some people would come to the shop and talk about the podcast, you know, and different things like that. And people are listening. So I just wanted to say nyama for everybody who listens to our podcast, and don't assume that we don't know that you're there. We're very thankful that we have like a small audience, large audience. It doesn't really matter to us because I mean, I think like some people say like if you're out there inspiring people, one person kind of thing that's what matters. Hopefully it's more than one person, but but I think this is like a really good jumping off point for people to even try their own ways of doing things. And like I said, like we started 2 years ago just from it was just random and just worked how it did. And we're nearing 2 years. And I think it's a real testament to us, like, you know, like a round of applause for us. Like we are doing something that's different for us. Like, you know, like putting ourselves out here like this, and, you know, and
which is scary and stressful sometimes.
Yeah.
Trying to come up with topics. But scary.
Well, stressful because you don't know, you know, like we often don't listen to ourselves. Like we don't listen to the podcast until it actually is published, you know, like, and so sometimes it could be 2 weeks in between or whatnot. And we don't necessarily always know what it is that we're talking about or remember what it was
I'm
that
like,
we said.
Shit, what did I say? I'm like, did I piss anyone off?
Exactly. And I don't share it until I listen to it because I want to prepare myself, right? Like if there's something that I said that might be offensive or whatnot, and I want to know, like, so if somebody comes for me, then I'll have an idea of what it is they're actually talking about. So yeah, so I just thought like it's something I would share today, just because I think that we don't often talk about ourselves like this, like, you know, like here we are, we're moms, we're artists, you're a painter, not just a bead worker, and everything else in between, and we do a variety of things, and these are just two ladies who come together and talk about beadwork, like, you know, and someone said, like, you know, yeah, we wouldn't mind helping to sponsor a podcast like this, like, you know, like that doesn't come around often, you know, and so we're very thankful for those who are in the production of the podcast, and, you know, and maybe it's my self-care month of November that's really helping me feel this way, but like I just feel really thankful and grateful that we have this platform that not many people say it. Like I was talking to my grad student and she was like, well, I'm going to help you with a link tree. I didn't know what a link tree was, but now I know. And she was talking to me and she's like, well, what do you have? I said, well, I have this, I have this, I have that. And she's like, oh yeah. I go, and I have a podcast. And she's like, what? And so she's like, we're going to get them all together. And that's a side story. But yeah, so it was just interesting because when I introduced myself, like, I don't ever say I'm a podcaster. Yeah. But now
I don't even remember half the time. It's in all honesty, it's like because we do it once a month, and it's like it's not
exactly.
I don't know. I think because we're not super active in this world, like in media and things like that. So it's like, and even that to be like, I don't know. I literally will sit here and talk and just feel like I'm just talking to you, and rest of the Hawaii's are the only ones that are going to hear me
in the room. Exactly.
Yeah. You know? So it's kind of like, I forget that this is not just in this room and that it goes somewhere and it's like on the wavelength. So sometimes I forget. Like
actually on YouTube. Did you know that?
Oh, Ooh, really? No, I didn't know.
You can listen to YouTube. I think. I'm
Ooh.
pretty sure.
I had a class, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and there was a girl we were painting, and it was a group not from Ganondagan. There was maybe one or two from the community in there, but the most were they were doing like some sort of retreat, and I just regret not asking them questions, kind of like personal, like, oh well, like, why are you here, or where are you from, or what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't pry or anything. I just did my job, but anyways, it was a group of women that were all working together, and I don't know if they were all Ngwahumwe. Some
Mhm.
were, I believe some aren't. So anyways, there was one girl, I don't even know how we got on the topic, but anyways, she was like talking about podcasts, or oh God, I don't even remember. Anyways, but she was like, hey, she's like, were you ever on a podcast? And I was like, I actually had to stop and think for a minute. I was like, wait, was I ever on a podcast? I was like, oh wait, no, yeah, I'm like, I have a podcast. And she's like, I can't say the name. I don't know if she was reading like my name that's on there, because on the
Oh,
print,
okay.
like, because our thing
Yeah.
is purple, and then it may say like Dagriakwa and Leith and whatever.
Yeah.
So she's like, I can't say the name. And I'm like, well, it's called the Beading Table. Like, and she's like, yeah, that's the one. She's like, I knew your voice was familiar. I was like, oh my God. I was like, ugh. But yeah, so I like sometimes it's weird. It is weird that like people will say that, like, oh yeah, I heard you talk. And I'm like, where? What are you talking about? Because I forget
Yeah.
that we're doing this. Like, so yeah, it's funny. It's a little weird sometimes.
Well, I had a funny story. I was at Gariwio in Oneida 3 weeks ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there at lunch, and just a bunch of ladies sitting talking. And I had been talking about language, and I'm really comfortable talking about that. And all of a sudden, this lady started talking to me in Mohawk, and she's like, oh, she goes, she was talking. I believe she was from Tyndonega. I'm not 100% sure though, but she was learning Mohawk in Six Nations out there. And we were just talking, Ganyaga, and she's like, yeah, she goes, I listened to you. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, on your podcast. I'm like, oh yeah. And then we had been talking Ganyaga, and this other lady was there, and she's like, excuse me, are you so, she started talking to me in Ganyaga, but I didn't know she spoke. And I was like, hi, whatever, talking. And she's like, yeah, she goes, I watch you on YouTube. I was like, what?
You're like, why?
What? And then she was like telling me how she was watching, and she was referring to something that I had completely forgotten, but it was an episode of something, or it was a project for maybe people in the language immersion class or something. And they came to my house, and my baby was just young. And so when she was talking to me in Ganyageha, she was asking me how old my son was.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, oh yeah. And then she was talking about Gariwa Gutste, because she was watching her and Gwaruyawi on YouTube too. And she goes, yeah, she goes, I passed by the table and I heard you talking. And I thought to myself, I know that person. I know that voice.
I know that voice.
Yeah. And so the ladies at the table had a real chuckle about it, because they said, yeah, you have you have a podcast and you're on YouTube. Man, Leith, you're famous. And I was just like, no, that is so far from the truth, but just happened to be ironically meeting up with people who were either listening to, yeah. And it was just a funny, a funny haha kind of moment. And just like, oh my God, like who would ever thought, but yeah. But we're grateful for it. And we like our time we spend here together talking, just because it's like you said, just like talking just anywhere at the beading table or just at the store or anytime like that. That's good. With that being said,
yes,
we should take it to the audience, take it to the streets,
the mean streets,
the streets, and see what it is people want to talk about. And there were a couple of topics people wanted to talk about. And there's one topic that we've talked about before, and they asked again, or not, they didn't ask again, but it was asked again. So it says, how do you feel about beading ECMN, which is Every Child Matters, and MMIW, Missing Murdered Indian Women or Indigenous Women things, I guess. So they asked, how do we feel about beating that? How do you, the Goriakwa, feel about beating that? I mean, when I say it like that, it sounds very like 2020.
I don't know. I am not opposed to it. If somebody need we talked about it before. It's like so I am not opposed to it. If somebody needs it, I would do it. It's the idea, I think, like we had said it before, like for me personally, I don't have, well, we all have ties to that. I can't say, but I think personally, like I don't have any, I don't, I don't know how to say this, like without, I wouldn't feel comfortable making profit off of it. Like,
Mhm.
I think
The
that's,
monetary side, yeah.
yeah. Like, I look at it like as, you're making profit off me. No, I don't know. That's not right either to say, because I don't want to dog anybody who's doing it either. Like, if you're doing it, they got their own reasons for doing it.
Okay,
They
so
have,
wait.
I don't know.
Let's talk just from you, not from. It only has to do with you. It doesn't have to do with anybody else. Because I think what we do often is we often talk about ourselves, but then we try to say stuff. I mean, not just us. I mean, in general, people and humans in general now. Some talk and we talk in a certain way because we don't want to offend anybody. So we're not trying to dog anybody. Well, let's just preface it like that. We're not trying to dog anybody, but your personal preference is that you don't feel comfortable making money off of that.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. I don't, not to profit. Like, I have started selling things at the store for other artists who do create some of those items. And so, yeah, like I would have no problems donating the funds to somewheres, things like that. Like, I don't know. I don't like, I wouldn't be making like a million things and then selling it and getting profit for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I find like sometimes it turns into like, is it right to say a money grab or like, but I don't know.
I don't know.
Like,
I mean,
don't know how to feel. Yeah.
Some people might do that,
Yeah. Cause I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't freaking know. But yeah, I personally just don't, I steer clear of it. Like if somebody asks me if they need it, then yeah, I'll do it. Like I'll make it for them or whatever, if they're wearing it or they're using it or if it's their personal thing, because it's like, it's half and half, because I also look at the survivors and things like that. And it's like to bring awareness, but not every survivor doesn't want to be on display either. You know what I mean? Like that's trauma that they've gone through and things that they are handling, whatever, which way they're handling it. Some choose to acknowledge and are open to talk about it and are okay with it all. And some aren't. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Anyways, it's for me personally, I just don't, whatever. That's it. That's my story.
Yeah. I mean, I feel kind of around this, not kind of, I feel the same way as you do. Like I've never been asked to be in anything like that, like specifically for those two. I don't know if they're causes, entities. I don't know. I'm not sure how I would classify it. I've never been asked to do that. I don't know. If I have, I don't think so. I don't feel comfortable. The same thing to sell those kind of stuff. I don't know why. I just don't feel comfortable. I think if an organization who was raising money for that had asked me to do something, of course I would bead something. I wouldn't necessarily bead something that was like all orange and all red. I don't like, I mean, I do use those colors. And I have made a series of art pieces that were all red, but it didn't have to signify that, it wasn't for that part. But if the organizations did want me to bead something, of course I'd say, yeah, like, like I've beaded for schools or I've beaded for different things, like, and helped in donations that way. So I have no problem doing that, but I don't think I would I don't think I would. I just don't think I would.
Yeah. And it's like, there is a market out there because people do want to bring awareness about those issues, which is, I agree with, and to bring awareness, it has to be out there. So, and then if it's out there, somebody has to make it. So, it's the back and forth. Like me personally, I just kind of steer away from it and I just, whatever, to each their own,
Yeah. Like I think for myself, like I wouldn't, I mean, I'm kind of, not to say I'm skeptical. I guess I would be kind of skeptical if, no, wait, how should I say this?
Come on, spit it out, say it. No.
I am. No, I'm skeptical. Yeah. I wouldn't know where to send the money to. The sense that I'm skeptical in the sense where what is the legitimate and how are they using it? And, like if I made something, like say I made 1,000 pins that were for whichever organization or cause or whatever, then where would I put the money? Like, how do I know they're doing what it is they're supposed to be doing right with the money? You know what I mean? Like, that's why I say like skeptical, because people have good intentions. And then a lot of times what happens is that sometimes the money or the to donate or whatnot goes into the actual administration of the organization rather than in the actual production of programs that are helping people or things like that kind of thing. So I wouldn't know where to to give, but I know there are ways that you can give to organizations or programming that helps to one alleviate stress on families who are going through those kind of things. Like, like if you were doing like language programs, those are some ways that help, like Every Child Matters. Like there's different avenues and ways that you can either prevent things from happening, or you can try to not make right, but give to places who are trying to reverse some of the adverse effects of what has already happened. Like teen groups, like, fostering places for people to come together so young women and young men can have respect for themselves and feel like they're valued, and that so that maybe down the line, maybe some choices won't put them in vulnerable situations, or stuff like that, or whatever, and
Yeah.
so I think in that regard, I wouldn't mind donating, but I wouldn't make it specifically like I wouldn't plaster on it ECM or Every Child Matters. I wouldn't do it that way, because I think there are organizations that are doing things that I think that would be more beneficial for them than my little, let me make 5 pins to make whatever and give you my $20 donation. I can do something else and give maybe a $200 donation if I do this, So,
Yeah.
so I think like saturating the market, it's not really my thing for that. And I see it as, it's almost like a business, and that's the wrong way for me to see it. Like, like I don't want to see it that way, but that's what it is. And I don't know. I would always just wonder what my grandma thought, because she went to residential school and she didn't really talk about it, and people didn't talk about it then. And there were 1,000 reasons why they didn't, but I don't know. I think there's other ways for me to help the cause than to do that, but I wouldn't tell somebody else not to do that, because maybe that's something that they do really well and they're making lots of help for people, like, come on, I don't know what they're doing. And it's none of my business what they're doing.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So what's the next question?
That's the question. Like, oh my God. I love how you said, just spit it out. I was going to spit it out. I'm not PC or anything. So what the next one is it said, what thing or embellishment will you never in capital letters, use on your work? And then the person gave an example is, for me, it's rhinestone banding.
Rhinestone cowboy. No.
We don't have to buy the lyrics for that, because we already said it. I think you have to say it. I think it's 4 seconds or something longer. You have to sing it. You got to give credit or something for some ways. I mean, I'm sure Mr. Howie knows that. Or do you say I'll get some kind of charge?
I'm sure they're not going to come for me for my singing abilities.
But yeah. So what embellishment or thing would you never use? And I'll say never use on your work.
Their example was the banding.
Yeah, the person who wrote in said
they wouldn't use those banding.
Using rhinestone banding.
Like I don't know. I can't say that I'd really be opposed to anything, like, because I don't know until I'm there. Like maybe one day I'll feel like I want rhinestones. One day I'll feel like I want plastic shit. I don't know if it helps and enhances it. I don't know. Then maybe like I would never put like, no, I don't know. Okay, like
you would put plastic pony beads.
I was just gonna say like the plastic pony beads and like like purple feathers and shit like that. Maybe not that.
Those old beads. I'm not sure if they're old beads, but maybe they still make them now. But they like, how they have like that bone bead that's like white.
Yeah.
Remember how they used to have plastic clear ones? They were long.
Yeah.
Super long. Like I wouldn't use that.
Yeah, I would probably steer clear of some of those kind of things, because I associate them with like Mikanaki-ish. Like for those.
You tell the audience what that is.
All right,
you
so
have to say what it is, because they won't know.
People are gonna come for me. All right,
but you know what? But I will preface this by saying that there are groups out there, not just specific to what Margaret's going to be talking about, who do perpetuate this thing that is very wrong, and they shouldn't be doing that. But
yeah, so
this is who we're going to talk about, the Mikanak. What was it called?
Mikanak. So there was a community not too far from Ganondagan. They were a self-proclaimed reservation of non-Ungwehue people who claimed indigenous right status. I don't know. And I don't know if they had cards. I don't know. So for a little while there, like a lot of people were kind of like, what the F, like, so anyways, that's kind of what it screams to me. Like when you see like, well, fringe is not a bad thing, but like I think of like the fake leather and the choker band, things like that, where it's like, I don't know, I think I would steer clear of some of those kind of things. Like, I don't know. I don't want that on my yeah. I like it's the fake feathers and like the pink boa feathers and
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know. I can't see like me making a purse and having like purple and pink feathers and pony beads
Like
hanging from it.
Like there's one thing to say like that, like on your art, but if you're doing arts and crafts with kids,
Yeah.
that's something different.
But even then,
you know,
no, because
even then you don't want to have
No.
that kind of stuff because that's not real arts.
no, and I teach
People
them
who
like
are
straight
art
up. I
and-
was always like,
Yeah.
when I used to teach even little kids, I was like, every child can learn. Don't stop them from give them the opportunity. Like teach them with small beads. They can do it. If they can only put 2 or 3 beads on, then they've done it. You know, like
Yeah.
So I'm not. Yeah, no. I guess I would. Can I say I wouldn't use a
You
pony
can say
bead?
anything you want.
Who
That's
knows?
why the
Like maybe
question
my
was.
next like thing, a pony bead will be called for. Or it'll be inspiration somewhere, and
Okay,
it'll
I'm
be
going to
like,
just give you a little bit of tidbit. Now, I once told my now husband I would never, ever go back out with him again. Well, we are married and we have 4 children. So you can say you will never use this, but maybe down the line, we're just talking about right this minute. What
Right
would
this-
you never use? I'm never, ever, you know,
never ever.
we're
Yeah.
never getting back together ever. Anyway,
Yeah, I would
So-
say probably like like all pony beads and things like that. I probably wouldn't use like, and the way I'm looking at pony beads is like I'm trying to think of like, you know, and it's multicolored and then there's fake feathers all over it
Yeah.
and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I probably wouldn't do that.
me, it's plastic.
Hmm.
Whether it's plastic sequins, plastic beads, plastic, whatever, it's plastic. I mean, I try to stay clear of that. I try not to have any of that kind of stuff. I mean, I know I have some sequins in a somewhere or someplace, but I just not. If they could make metal sequins that are colored, and I'm sure they probably do somewhere in the world, but
Hmm.
so I think that's one of the things. But it was funny because when I went to Nova Scotia was it the spring or was it the spring? Must have been the spring or last year. I went to Nova Scotia and we went to visit Sunday Lace Creations. Have you ever heard of them?
Yes.
Yes, she has a.
I think I have her on Instagram.
Yeah, I can't remember her first name, but it's
Does she wear glasses?
yes, she
Okay,
wears. Yeah,
Seen her
she
video.
is an Indigenous beadwork artist, and she has a. I believe it's more of an It was more of an online presence because of COVID and different things like that. But it's called Sunday Lace Creations. If you're looking for beading supplies or whatnot, and this isn't an advertisement or anything. Like this is just something that I was there and I went and it was really nice. And we went to her storefront, which was a small little place, and she was stacked to the gills with all kinds of beading stuff. Like, you know, and I sell beads, but I don't sell everything. Like I only specifically sell one thing. So I like to go to stores to see all the other stuff they had. And she had this very fine rhinestone beading.
Like the banding?
Yeah, the banding. Sorry, yeah, banding. And so I bought some, and one was like a turquoise, and it had, I believe, the outer casing was plastic. And I was like, but I bought it anyway. And then there was another color. It was like a dark, like I guess it looked like an onyx stone, but obviously it's not onyx, but it was like a crystal black, whatever. It had like a light silver, what is called that? Whatever the metal was holding it together, it was that. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I would use this. I bought some because I never saw it before that small. I'm not usually somebody who uses banding. That's not really my forte, but never say never, right? But so I bought it, but I thought it was really high quality looking banding and something that it might add something to my piece. So I bought it, and so I'm not opposed to it. I don't know exactly how you use it, but I bought it anyway. I don't know.
You use glue. You glue it on. No.
Oh, you glue it on?
No, just kidding. I don't know. I never use
Well,
it.
you have to not tape it, like stitch it down. I don't know, whatever.
Probably
So
gotta
I'm
tack
sure
it down. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a YouTube video out there because there's a lot of YouTube videos about stuff. You know, like you can learn anything on YouTube actually. And so anyway, so I bought that, but yeah, anything that's plastic, I really turn my nose up for myself, for my things. You know, like for me, some people do excellent work and have stuff like that on there. That's fine for them, but for me, I'll probably never do that.
Yeah,
Just
like
'cause
I have.
I don't want to.
Plastic, not rhinestones. What are they called? Sequins.
Sequins, yeah.
That I used that were in my great grandmother's little cookie sewing box thing there,
Yeah.
cookie tin or whatever. And when I opened it,
Those
there
would be
was
good right now. some tea and
the butter cookies.
Oh, it was so nice.
And she had a big, long, like a whole strand, like on a and it was all like they were all red and they're semi-clear red kind of, but they were pretty cool. Like, but for me, I find like I like to use them. I'll use them. I don't care, but I like to try to use them in a non-conventional way, whereas them not just being laid flat. You know what I mean? On the like, I use them for that too once in a while. But yeah, I try to put them in different ways, like on the pieces. Like I think I used them before for the center of a flower. And then it, like when you put your hand, so they were like kind of they weren't, I don't know how the hell to explain it.
They were beveled, they weren't flat.
Yeah, they were kind of like all in a row type of thing. So when you put your hand on it, you could feel them like it was like spiky almost all the way around. Like that's how I used them for the center of a flower before, instead of it just being
I know
flat.
what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I put them on the side. So yeah, just like different ways. Like I like taking non-conventional or no, is that the way? I like
to take conventional items and use them in a non-conventional way.
Yes, exactly. So I like trying to do that sometimes, like, you know, just when I'm inspired to. But yeah.
When the iron strikes.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my goodness, you're tired?
I am tired. Oh, yeah,
I've been taking, so maybe just a little bit off topic. I've been taking a new supplement.
Oh,
called AG1. Has anybody ever heard that? Anybody out there in the podcast world take AG1?
No.
My brother takes it. It's called Athletics Greens 1, I think it is. And it is this powder of like so many, and this is not an advertisement. Maybe it should be AG1. Come for us, please. I would like it for free. But yeah, so it's this greens with nutrients and different things like that. It's supposed to help with gut health and just overall nutrition kind of thing. Because I'll be honest, I'm not eating the right recommended daily intake of vitamins, A, B, C,
Fruits
12,
and
and zinc and all that jazz. No, I'm not. And so my brother takes this and he's in pretty good health, like running and doing all kinds of stuff and whatever. And so I thought, let me try it. And it seems to be doing well. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting good sleep. I feel like, I never have suffered from unhealthy guts or whatever, but I feel like my gut health is good and, and that kind of stuff. The only thing is that it doesn't taste. It's not my preference of taste. My brother loves it, the taste, but I don't.
Yeah.
But
kind of like protein powder where it tastes like funky.
I've never tried protein powder. I've never taken protein powder.
There's certain ones, they taste gross.
Well, this isn't like a chocolate or anything. I believe it's a one flavor. It doesn't suit my palate, but it's not horrible where I won't take it. Like I can't drink it. Like I can drink it. It's no problem. I'd rather have a different kind of taste, but it doesn't come in one, but it doesn't stop me from taking it. But I feel really good and a good night's sleep. And maybe you need some AG1.
Maybe.
Or have a banana or something,
or go to bed on time. I went to bed really late.
Really?
Yeah, I had volleyball last night and it went really late. Like, yeah, our last game was at 10 o'clock. I was like,
God,
what
that
the
is
hell?
late.
Yeah, so I'm like a little fried this morning.
What time did you wake up this morning?
Well, Greg goes to work early, so I get up. I hear him like kind of rummaging around the house, so maybe about 5:30, 6-ish.
I woke up 7:45.
Oh, well, that's why you're all bushy-eyed and not.
Because I'm getting I'm getting like 2 hours. I'm getting 8 hours of sleep a day. I don't think I wasn't getting that much when I was home, but I'm trying to take advantage of this time to really be kind to myself. Yeah. And when we're doing beadwork, sometimes the finishing touches really add a little bit of something. And so our next topic that I'm going to segue us into is edging. People want to talk about edging.
Mm-hmm.
But all they wrote was edging. They didn't ask a question. Mm-hmm. They didn't give us any type of
direction.
So let me ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of going, what edging will you never do? What is an edging that is one of your tried and true and you always fall back on because one, you loved how it looks, or even two, it's easy and fast?
I can't say I love it, but the easy and fast one is when you do, say you put one bead on and then you put on, I don't know, 4 or 5,
4 or 5,
6 or whatever, and then you come back through one. So it makes like kind of a line, or you can make it closer and then it makes like a bump or that kind of thing.
Oh, yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one, I like that as a finishing because it's, you can clean it up and you can, like I said, you can do it like if you jump far enough, like lay them out, then you get like a nice like line edge. Or if you make it closer, then it kind of bumps up on you. So then you get like a round edge. That would be the fastest one. And my tried and true is like the scallopy. I always go to that. I like that one.
I mean, 1 bead and then 2 beads and 3 beads and then
and for me, I prefer. So I wonder if anybody else thinks of it this way. So the way I view it is, I do 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. So I do it like that, where your biggest number is doubled. So what that will do is it'll give you a round. Yeah. It'll round it instead of if you do 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And then whatever, which will make it a point. So for me, I think of the round, doing the 2 bigger numbers double, making it round. It gives it more feminine type of look. And whereas the point gives it more of a masculine look. So that's how I look at it. I just think of round and soft and sharp and pointy, men, women. No, I don't know why, but that's kind of how I look at it. So I tend to do the rounded one, and not too big. Like sometimes I like the scallop to be smaller and not super big, because and depending on what you're doing it, what you're doing it on. Mm-hmm. On moccasins, I like to keep it like just soft and feminine, unless it's a big pair, like say a men's pair, then I might make it bigger. But I tend to stick to that 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1 kind of deal. And it gives it just a little bit of something, but then it's not taking over. Like, especially because on a vamp, and this is all just my personal preference, this is not the holy gospel. No. So on the vamps, for me, what I prefer is that when I put a vamp on, because we talked about this before, how it's hard work to get your puckers to look nice and to get them to. So I have just fixed my formula so that I can see my puckers. So when I do my moccasins now, I can really see them, because I was looking at old ones and I'm like, holy shit, like my vamps used to be so big and you couldn't even see the puckers, and it was like, it just went right over. So I'm like, it's a lot of work to get a pucker. So anyways, now when I do my vamps, I try not to do the scallops super, super big or too long, wide, I don't know, whatever, so that you can still see all the puckers. So that's my my thought process behind all of that. So those are my edgings.
Well, I'm doing a pair of moccasins right now, and the edging I have, and I'm just looking at a photo, is 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So I do 1 twice. So I do the 1 twice. So it kind of makes it wider, I think. I think that's what it is. But yeah, I think it's 3. But it looks very soft. Yeah. Like it's not pointy. I think if I added 4, it would, of course, it makes it more pointier.
Yeah, it makes it more, yeah.
I know that I really like to do the one where it's just 1 bead and then 2 beads. Yeah. That one plain, just a kind of makes it sound like, I just like how it looks. And sometimes I get mad at myself when that 1 bead in the middle kind of lays down just a tad. Like it's just off. Dude, I'm trying to fix it. Like I think, shit, Leith, you should have really you went too far. Like it made a little bit of a thing. So that's the one I really like. I really, it's simple, but it takes a lot. It's just simple, and I just like it. I just, I could do it on everything, I guess, if I could, but it's not very substantial. That's the only thing. It doesn't make a mark. Like it really.
I like it, though. It depends on what you're doing, and sometimes it's like you just need that little extra, but not too much. You don't want to take away from it anything else, so you just kind of put that. And it's not. I want to say simple, but it's not simple because it's still a lot of work. Like
it's still a lot of time. It's a lot of time. Yeah. The one I like to do like the scallop, and I like to call that more like the kind you were just talking about, where it was round or whatever. I like to think of that as the lacy kind. Like it reminds me of lace. And then that little edging I like to do, but the one I really don't like to do, and my hat's off to those people who do it, because it drives me nuts, is that one where you do like 5 beads or 4 beads and then you go back to that last one and you make like a triangle. Yeah. I can't stand doing that one. It always feels like my beat, I can do it. It's no problem. But it just seems like it's the pain in the buns when it goes back to that beat at the top, so you can make another to make
come
the
back
opposite
down. Yeah. And see, for me, I would say like that's not my, like I don't really, not that I don't like it, but I think it's I've seen it in different ways, and I
Mhm.
feel like on bigger pieces it looks nice. On smaller pieces, it's depending on how big it gets. Like
Mhm.
I find it takes over. Like it ends up like too big, or it looks like it's taking away from something else. Like
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Because it depends on how big it goes though, because you can make it smaller or bigger or longer
Yeah.
or whatever, depending on how many beads you put on. But I wonder, like, if you tried to do it smaller, you wouldn't probably get the same
But if you did it
effect.
smaller, you can make, because some people make theirs wide, which is fine. Like,
Okay,
like
yeah.
there's various things. There's a wide, we'll call that triangle.
Yeah.
And then there's a narrow triangle. So if you have less beads, you just do narrow and it could stick up just nice. I mean, I've done it that way and
Yeah.
it's fine. I just don't, I just technically don't like to do it because it
Yeah.
just always it just screws up. It just seems like it takes 100 years.
Yeah.
It's like a big commitment. And so I don't you do it as often, but I like it. It's just, I
I've
don't like
seen it on something else, like say it was on a purse or something, and it was done big
Yes.
and it was nice. I liked how, and I think they had something dropping from it. I can't remember
Yes,
whose piece it was, but
I've
it
seen
looked
that.
really nice. Like I do like it in certain ways. I don't think I've ever done it, to be honest. I don't think I've ever added it onto a piece.
Really? Maybe you
Yeah.
should try.
Yeah, I'll have to slap it on something.
Slap it
Well,
on
I
something.
have, yeah. Yeah, maybe I will.
Maybe your son's. It looks like could be more masculine, like you say, a triangle,
Yeah.
pointy for men.
The pointy for men. Yeah.
That's Margaret's interpretation, but I think it's anything unisex all the way,
Yeah,
or
I don't know.
whatever.
It's just the way
Yeah,
I think of it.
but yeah. So, but yeah, there's many different edgings. Like I guess it's just whatever you want to really do. And I don't. I like to do fringe. I don't do fringe well. If that's even called an edging, is that an edging fringe?
Yeah, that's an edging. Oh,
Yeah.
I hate fringe. I do it, like I hate doing it. I like it. I like how it looks, but I hate doing it. That's the one thing
I mean,
I hate doing.
yeah, and we're talking about beaded fringe, not fringe leather. But
Hmm.
even then, I don't really know how to do that either. But I mean, not that I don't know how. I probably could, but I've never done it.
Hmm.
And people do it really well, and it's just not. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But in terms of like the beading fringe, it's not. There's certain things I don't mind putting it on. Sometimes I find it too cumbersome. Like it just kind of takes away. It just I
Hmm.
don't know. And often, almost every time, I have a hard time. I have a hard time beading fringe. Really, like making it look nice. Sometimes especially if you're doing it on a frame, sometimes it
Hmm.
gets wonky in that little center, like that little first notch. If it's scalloped your
Yeah.
in pattern, and
Or it
so it
doesn't
just
pull right and sit right
yeah,
where. And here's a little tip. So I'm going to give a tip for people. If you've
yes,
ever done fringe work and if you pull too tight, it's going to get too stiff.
yeah,
So
oh yeah,
what
yeah,
you end up having to do is, so when you put all your beads on and you go to the next thing and you tack it in, pinch it, go right where it meets the fabric and you just pinch it a little bit and it'll release some of the thread and then it'll sit and it'll sway. And that way you get movement to it, because if
yeah.
you pull it way too tight, it's going to get like really stiff and then it looks like armor almost after a while and it has no movement to it.
Yeah.
So
And the idea for fringe is it moves. Yeah.
yeah, you get that movement. Like I'm thinking yoke, like specifically,
Yeah.
like so when you're moving, like then they move, they sway instead of being like stiff. So that's the trick for that. Like you pinch at the top where it meets, and then it releases just a little bit, and then not too much because you don't want to be seeing all kinds of thread, but just enough so that it like releases and it's calmer and it's not all stiff. There you go. Tip Tuesday. No.
Tuesday. What did I say? Tense Tuesday or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was Tense Tuesday. Now it's Tip Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's all different kind of things people can play around with. And one day I would love to do like they do that, not what, a tutorial?
A tutorial? No.
Actually, I was thinking about doing that for my bead group. So I don't know if I talked about them. Did I talk about my cradle board group?
I don't know. I don't know if
So
maybe last.
I don't know if I don't think I did. Did I talk about? I'm just looking at my notes. Did I talk about them? Artist beading group. Maybe I did. November. Maybe yeah. Anyway, so I have a group. Anyway, I have a group of ladies that I'm helping to teach how to make cradle board wraps, and so a lot of them they've already designed their pattern. They cut out the shape they wanted. Their shape of the cradle board wrap. They've secured like what kind of design they want to do. They picked their material. Some of them picked their beads for edging and whatnot. And I thought maybe I would do that is I would like take videos and send it to them because we don't meet like weekly. We might meet. I think we're meeting just in December, so it's like kind of far. And I thought maybe I would do some videos for them to teach them how to do, like, like not teach them how to do it because they already know, but like show them how I do like a rope stitch or how I do a line because everyone does it differently or kind of like, or, so.
I would put, so here's a
what?
Here's an experience. So I had classes when we used to do it on Zoom, and they used to ask to record the classes. And a few times, well, in all honesty, in the beginning, I didn't know what the hell I was doing on Zoom anyways. And in all honesty, I didn't want to learn beyond what was the easiest. Like I didn't have the time to be like, okay, let me figure this all out. So I didn't know how to record it, or I think we did record it. I didn't know how to upload it and get it off the cloud and do all that crap. And so I ended up not doing it. And I did have classes that had asked if they could take what was recorded, because I think we did get it once or twice, or somebody else recorded it and did it for me. But then I had other people ask if they could put it on YouTube. And I was like, no, no, I'm not comfortable with that. Like, these are all private sessions. Like, it's a private class. Like, I am not comfortable with this because on YouTube, it's accessible to anybody and everybody. Like, I don't.
Unless you make a YouTube channel that you only invite certain people into.
Yeah. So I was just,
even then, who knows?
yeah. So that was always my, because I've done that in the past too, where I do tutorials and I take little videos of things and I sent it in the group chats, like for people to see, because sometimes people can't be there or they need extra support or whatever. So I've done it that way. But yeah, I've always just said like, like I'm not comfortable. Yeah, like don't be broadcasting it everywhere. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I'm sorry, I'm drinking my drink, man. I just realized it's going to be on thing. But yeah, I feel the same way that, it would just be for my group because just to show them, hey, this is an idea or whatever or stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not down with that too. And I talk a lot about, I don't talk about it a lot, but I bring it up when I do talks or different things with my residency and stuff that, I don't share in that kind of platform just because it didn't originally come from me, some of those things, Yeah. I don't want to call them teachings because people think of it as teachings as a spiritual thing, but teachings, those ways I learned didn't come from like that kind of way. And I don't know if the person who taught me would feel comfortable. And I don't want to, those are the last people I want to piss off, the people who taught me, I don't want to piss off my mentors. Like, I really, I look at them in high regard. I don't want to be doing stuff that did be like cringe and be not happy. I don't want that. So that's one of the reasons why I don't. And some people might think of it as like, well, you're not sharing, blah, blah, blah. But there's other ways to share, and I don't need to put it on.
On major platforms.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind posting on Instagram myself, like, like a fast thing of me doing something or making a reel or that kind of stuff. Like, I don't mind that. But yeah, there's certain things I won't post on there.
Yeah.
Certain things I know you can't find on YouTube. I mean, things you can are accessible through other outlets. I don't mind putting on there because, well, it's already out there. It's not like I'm sharing valuable secrets. Although I did.
It's like in tidbits too when you're on Instagram. It's like there's not much. It's not like you're giving a whole tutorial on like a whole moccasin making class.
But I did tell my ladies, I said, I'm telling you this trick. Don't you dare tell anybody else. I said, there might be 7 people that know. Don't tell anyone my secrets. I'm serious. I said that. They're like, okay. I'm like, yeah. And then one of the ladies wasn't there that first day. We had met. And then one of the girls goes, yeah, we said not to share with nobody. It's her secrets. I just started laughing. And it's true. Because that's, sometimes you got to hold stuff that's close to your heart. And that's okay.
Hold tight. Yeah.
Hold tight.
So was that the last question or did we have any more?
No, that was the last question about the edging. And I didn't have anything else that I need to talk about. Do you want to talk about anything else?
No. I think we're running up onto almost 2 hours now. So
no, it's not because we started late.
Almost 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. So we will say our goodbyes. They go here. We'll just say goodbye.
Goodbye. No. Yeah. So we're gonna wrap it up. But So hopefully, the next time we're together, we'll try to get some Ganondaganers on with us, and we can talk about our experience and how the show went, and it'll be exciting to see. Like, good luck to everybody. I wish everyone could win. I'm so nervous. It's always nerve-wracking to submit and enter your things, and like, of course, everybody wants to win. Like, if I win, that'd be great. If I don't win, that's okay too. It's like, it's nice just to get your stuff out there and give it exposure and to have other people see it. But it is nerve-wracking too, because I'm like, oh shit, I hope it's up to everybody else's standards, because I've seen a few things that's going, and I'm like, oh my God, like shit, that looks so good, and I'm like, I'm throwing mine in the garbage now. No, like, it makes you feel like, oh shit. So yeah, so we'll see once we get there how everything is, and yeah, it'll be exciting.
It'd be nice just to see everybody and see everybody's work, and because a lot of times you don't get to see things in person. Like, it's only through social media, and you only get one view, because you can't really appreciate it sometimes for what it really is until you see it in person. So that's the best part of it. And I just like going to see that, but also, even if I don't win, I am so happy to be in company of people who are winning and who, like, could get in the show. Like, like when you have your work next to somebody whose stuff is super stellar, man, that's pretty good. Like, that was my thing, was up against that. Whether it won or lost, it didn't matter. It's just like, man, I'm in good company, and that's always good. So
yeah.
So with that being said, everybody, now for listening to the Beading Table, we will come back next month and have a new session, and hopefully we'll be in a new space, traditions, and maybe we won't be in person, but we'll be in person someday, maybe in January.
One day.
So now, everybody, have a good day, evening, whenever you're listening, and subscribe, like, and all that jazz.
And share. No.
And share.
Like.
Yeah.
All
What'd you say? Love you?
No, I said share it out. No.
Okay.
All right.
Adios.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
The views and opinions of the guests expressed in this podcast do not reflect those of your wase and its employees.